just had a lot of caffeine. I'm feeling good. Is that going on the podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. We are in a series now, talking through really how to raise healthy children through the month of August. If you missed the last episode, we kind of had a discussion on immune support. And this episode, I'm going to give you some like non-negotiables. What are three non-negotiables to raising healthy children? Before I do, this is I figured it would be probably apropos even in this season to have a discussion on what I'm seeing in our city right now in terms of health concerns. So one of the big things that we're seeing in children, particularly, is Mycoplasma pneumonia. This is a bacterial type pneumonia that's being diagnosed at really an alarming rate. Now, I could go into some tangents on why I think that is, but it's not for today's episode. I do think it's important to know that Mycoplasma pneumonia is prevalent throughout Knoxville, as well as some other respiratory viruses. It's important to note that there's a difference between a bacterial and viral infection. And so mycoplasma-based pneumonias are bacterial infection. And so the symptoms are going to usually be like a sore throat, chest congestion, starts with a dry cough, fever. And if one of your children is dealing with unresolved chest tightness, sore throat that's really beyond a few days with a recurring high temperature, we should consider pneumonia as a possibility. So, hey, just wanted you to be aware. This is prevalent right now. This is nothing to be scared of. It's just bringing awareness of what virus loads or bacterial loads are existing in our culture right now, so that you can be aware of hey, this is happening. We're also seeing some hand, foot, mouth. So be mindful of hands and feet and any little bumps in the mouth. These are going to be like pustule, almost like clear vesicle-like. So if you've ever had like a poison ivy in the very beginning, it's like this clear vesicle that comes to the surface and pops and oozes. That's similar to what you'll see with hand, foot, mouth. So just be mindful of that. If your child has like a sore throat or like little almost like red blisters on the inside of their mouth, this may be early signs of hand, foot, mouth. Obviously, this is a virus. This is going to a lot of times have a fever with it. So those are two things that we're seeing, which is something that we're actually talking about. Last episode, I mentioned one thing you have to have in your home this season, and actually forgot to mention it. So I got off the episode. I was like, should I jump back on? It's like, I'll just save it for today. So because you are a avid listener, you actually are going to hear it on today's episode. What is one thing that you need to have at home for the upcoming season? And this is a nebulizer. So a nebulizer is something that vaporizes water. So you just fill up this little container of water. There's a hose, and through ultrasonic waves, it takes that water and puts it in like a small, like a mist, and then you breathe that in. And it's a mask that you're going to put on. So there's pediatric masks as well as adult-sized masks. And these nebulizers, as you're bringing in this humidity, right, this air that's attached with higher concentrations of water, it really is very soothing to the respiratory system and can provide a sense of relief because it creates production. And what we'll typically put in that solution, so we don't just use a nebulizer, we put saline solution in that nebulizer. And saline or salt water is very calming to the respiratory system. And these are isotonic solutions, so they match our blood. So it's almost like bringing fresh filtration to the lungs, the respiratory system, to the nose, the nasal passages. Very similar to what you would do with like a lavage or nasal washing. So a nebulizer is also great because not only would you use saline solution, but for us in our home, what we do is we add colloidal silver to that as a natural antibiotic, a natural antibacterial and antiviral. Colloidal-based silver, particularly a water-soluble-based silver, the one that we have at the office, you just spray a couple times in your saline solution and you respire that or you breathe that in through the nebulizer. And this is something that's fantastic for the lungs to handle bacterial and viral infections and to, again, mitigate the effects of bronchitis or pneumonia and reduce those symptoms pretty quickly. So this is something I want you to really have in your arsenal. Have a nebulizer. Don't get it when your kids are already sick. It's too late. Go ahead and buy it now. Amazon, easy access there. They're usually about $50, $60. And you're just looking for the mask that goes over a kid's face, over an adult's face. And then you're going to have to buy separately those isotonic solutions, those saline solutions. And then you have to buy separately the colloidal silver. And you kind of combine those 2 to 3 things, and you breathe that in. Now, it's fantastic for asthmatics. So it's something you can do every day. There's no harm or risk in it that's negative at all. It will only help, and that's why people who live near the beach, salt water, have a better respiratory system than those that live in a Knoxville Valley where, gosh, it's just a cesspool of dust and mold. So nebulizing every day is great, but it's even more effective when there is illness, sickness, especially within the respiratory system. So this is great to have in your home. Make sure you get it, a nebulizer, get some colloidal silver, and have that ready to go for this winter season ahead. This is a must. It's an absolute must. And then the second one I mentioned just a few seconds ago, it is a must, is also having some type of sinus irrigation. Especially with littles, you need to be irrigating their sinus cavity. Most of those little babies, they need their nose sucked and drained. So those little nose Fritas are great. And then you can get these like neti bulbs that you fill up with salt solution, distilled water plus salt, and you just squirt through their nose, wash out their sinus cavity, suck it out. For us as adults, we could use a Sinugator from NeilMed or any type of sinus irrigation system. And that is fantastic at preventing like sinus infections that are secondary to a respiratory virus that we see a lot. We should be irrigating our sinuses every day, especially again here in Knoxville. But even if you did it once a week or have it when you are showing any signs of respiratory illness, again, helps prevent secondary infections. That's why that's so important. It's not just the virus. It's also preventing secondary sinus infections or respiratory infections. Something like a Mycoplasma pneumonia that's straight bacterial, hey, we may need to do some different interventions there. But with most viral infections, preventing secondary infections are so important. So again, salt solution through the nose, salt solution through a respiratory nebulizer should be in your home, ready to go this upcoming fall season. All right, that's another health hack in essence. So my daughter yesterday, so we're filming this on Thursday, so it's Wednesday, comes home, and she immediately after school looks like she just got hit with a Mack truck. And it was either, hey, are you tired? It's first day of school, or are you expressing symptoms of virus? So for her, she was expressing symptoms of virus, pretty obvious. So what did I do? Okay. So this was last night, got home about 6 o'clock. We gave her the Immunoberry, which is that beta-glucan, mushroom extract, elderberry formulation that we talked about last week that's in the office. It's part of our wellness package for the upcoming season. So gave her Immunoberry. Then the next step was I immediately adjusted her upper cervical spine to help initiate the rest and digest system called the parasympathetic nervous system. So immediately adjusted her atlas, which is first bone of the neck, and then gave her a very high dose of vitamin A. Vitamin A is a strong antiviral and immune stimulator. So I gave her a liquid form of emulsified vitamin A and then put her butt to bed. And she slept from like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, all the way through till this morning about 8 a.m. She woke up, she's probably 80% today. So she had a really good immune response to whatever she was fighting. Seemed like she handled it pretty well. For us, that's kind of our go-to. Like when we have illness, sickness, we're going to stimulate immune system health. We're going to stimulate the nervous system to help fight the virus. We're going to put that baby to bed, and we're going to pray over that child, see if she can, really bring some life back to her body within 24, 48 hours. And she crushed it. She really did. She is healthy today. She looks great. She's out moving around, getting sunlight. So this kind of helps us set the example of, hey, if she's displayed any signs of respiratory illness, we would have immediately done nebulizing today. We're not seeing anything like that. But if we do, which could still come, we're going to use that colloidal silver nebulizing trick. This is now leading into the rest of today's episode, which is, okay, we talked about a nebulizer and irrigation. Then I mentioned in that protocol vitamin A. Vitamin A is antiviral. They actually give it in third world countries. They give high dosage vitamin A for the treatment of measles. And so an emulsified vitamin A, heavy dose. So come to the office, we'll talk about what that dosing is, because you can't just take a ton of vitamin A consistently. You can create liver toxicity with it. So there has to be a very specific dosing. But we give a high dosed vitamin A, and then we got her adjusted. Chiropractic care for kids is vital in this season. If your kid's not getting adjusted every week, this is your public service announcement. Get them adjusted. Get them adjusted every single week. No matter how busy life is, no matter how crazy life is, get them adjusted. Why? Because chiropractic care is not about instantly feeling better. It's about instantly healing better. And I think that's very important to know, that chiropractic care in kids is not designed to make them feel better when they walk out. It's to up-regulate the function of their nervous system, which drives immune system health. And this can help their bodies handle infections through the fall and winter more effectively than kids that are not getting adjusted. So, what does this look like? Instrument-assisted adjustments that we do in the office are fantastic in helping shift the immune system properly. There are studies that show an increase in natural killer cells after an adjustment. These are cells that go throughout the body and kill viruses. So I want you to be bringing your kids into me when they're sick. That's the most important time to get adjusted. Don't stay at home and pop a bunch of pills. Come to the office. Let's get them adjusted. Let's take a look at them. That's why we exist, to help you when you're not doing well and your kids aren't doing well, not when you're doing well. Okay, not only when you're doing well, but obviously when you're in those moments where you're needing advice, support, and care. Specifically, the upper cervical spine is a fantastic area of the spine to work with, because it regulates a part of the nervous system called the rest and digest part. And this allows the body to rest, break stress responses, upregulate immune systems, particularly natural killer cells, and allow your body to fight, and your kid's body to fight infections better. So that is one other part to this blend of irrigation or nebulizing, immunoberry, vitamin A, chiropractic adjustment. And something that we're doing for the month of August for kids returning back to school is we are discounting your new patient appointment for kids. So if you're listening to this and you've never had your kids checked, never been adjusted, now's the time. Call one of the offices at the Health Factory Armor Health and talk about this podcast, and you'll get a discount on your new patient appointment. The last thing, sleep. Put your kid to bed. Now, how much sleep? We alluded to it in your previous episode, but we need to set a healthy rhythm of sleep to where kids in grade school, we're going to talk really high school below, specifically middle school below, need 10 hours of sleep. High school can get away with about 8 hours, but that's like bare minimum. Middle school below, we really need to be at 10 hours sleep. So what does this look like? It means you're starting bedtime at 8 o'clock. That's what that means. And I know that may seem like really, wow, that's a shock. But if you start the rhythm of like nighttime at 8, shut electronics down, right? Brush teeth, have story time, Bible time, pray, relax, be in a dark environment. Their nervous system's already shutting down. They're able to get to bed sooner, okay? So let's just say they get to bed and they fall asleep at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and they're up by 6:37. Guys, we just knocked out 10 hours. So we want to try to strive for a healthy rhythm of sleep where we are putting them to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, okay? So we're trying to go for 10 hours, and then high school students, college students, adults can operate closer to that 8-hour mark, but we still really are trying to get 8 hours and of a consistent sleep pattern. Be the example parent. Like, set the example in your home. Don't be on your computer, laptop, phone, iPad, TV at 10 o'clock and then tell and scream to your kids in their bedroom, go to bed, turn your electronics off. No, you should be in bed, setting a healthy rhythm and pace for your whole family. Set the example. Be the example for your kids. I promise you, they will look to you with action, not with words. Your action speaks louder than the words you're speaking, okay? So be the example, set the example. Let's try to get 8 to 10 hours sleep per night. And if we are taking some of those strategies we talked about with nebulizing, vitamin A, immunoberry, chiropractic adjustments, and restful sleep, we are definitely expressing health in our children. So as we're raising healthy children in this month of August, be mindful of some of the things we talked about in the beginning of the episode of viral loads and bacterial loads that are existing in our culture, especially in Knoxville. If you need any help, we're here to serve you, care for you, love you in any way possible. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Real Health Podcast.